Hello, everyone. This is the Casually Toxic Podcast. It is October 4th, 2017. My name is Matt. We're sitting here with Cirrus.
Hello.
And Ian.
What's up?
And we're going to talk about some video games and other garbage. We are the 700th best podcast on the internet.
It's true. We're
Climbing
coming for
up
you.
the ranks. Climbing up the ranks.
Climbing up the ranks. We're number
699. We're on your ass.
We'll get there eventually. So let's just dive right into it. Cirrus, what have you been playing?
So this week I've been playing a little bit of League of Legends.
Hell yeah.
Debating how much time I want to invest into
All
this
of it.
end
How
of the
many hours
season.
in
There's
a
only
week?
a couple weeks left to try to make it up into gold.
Dude, that's kind of where I'm at, man. It's like, since class is kind of heating up now because we're in the middle / getting towards the end of this semester, it's like, do I really want to invest a ton of time into it? Because it would mean basically any free time I had was invested into climbing.
Yeah.
And because like I'm gold 1
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
a game that like you can't like divide up your time that well
Yeah.
with it. Like you have to put in a lot of time.
Why
for
is time
improvement.
running out to do this?
The season is
ends.
ending soon.
What season number is League of Legends on?
Seven.
7? Okay.
Season
That
7.
that's
I
pretty
think
reasonable.
Worlds is today or tomorrow? Something?
No, it's starting like today. Yeah, like later on this evening.
Oh yeah, with some garbage teams.
Is
I
Worlds
guess.
like
I've heard of-
equivalent of the
The
international
international,
for?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
the
yeah.
international is the equivalent of Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, Worlds.
Oh, I see how it is. Yeah, some League of
No,
Legends
yeah.
elitism.
For sure. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited. I mean, we're going to all lose to the Koreans anyways, but I'm still hyped to see if we can get out of group stage
That'll be
as the
exciting.
North American region, dude.
Unfortunately, it is live from like Beijing or whatever, so
Yeah.
it comes on at like 3 a.m.
Oh, my God.
Is there country pride in like League of Legends?
Oh,
Esports?
yeah,
There's
Absolutely.
region pride.
What was,
region. Okay.
Yeah.
what was the, what was that thing? It was, what's the Rift Rivals?
Yeah.
Where it was literally, the biggest, not the biggest, but regions would go up against their, like, their rival, I guess. So it would just be North America and Europe would be against each other, and like Korea and China.
And
then there was a couple others, but it was kind of hilarious because EU was talking some crazy amount of shit, and then NA just comes in and basically sweeps the whole tournament, and it was amazing.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, there's definitely some rivals, but I think when it comes to Worlds, it's way more about just like
can a Western
dethroning-
team
yeah,
do
just
anything?
dethroning Korea at all.
I normally follow the only main esports scene I follow is Rocket League, and there's no like region pride there. It's always team pride.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually matter whether or not someone's from the EU or NA or
Yeah,
OCE.
I'd probably give it a bit of time. Maybe it'll develop. I don't know. I kind of feel like that way in almost every game. Koreans play are just always dominant.
Yeah, well,
Those are the
especially
into,
like
yeah.
StarCraft and fighting games seems like that's
I
the
thought fighting games was more so everybody.
Is it?
Well, Japan has a bigger representation,
Yeah.
but Korea still has
Because
like
there's so many fighting games
in,
coming
like,
out of Japan.
I don't know, in all the fighting games that are come out of Japan, ones produced by, Capcom, Konami, that kind of stuff, have like a big Japanese and Korean scene, as compared to like, I don't think there are that many, or not that many, but like, I don't know, high profile East Asian players for like Injustice,
That's fair.
you know,
Sure.
That's a very stereotypical Western
or
game.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just I feel like it's just their what's the word I'm looking for? Structure, I guess. It's just
Oh yeah. Well, I know like people talk about it with fighting games is that like arcade culture never died in Korea and
Yeah.
Japan like
Sure.
it did here.
Yeah.
So like playing face to face with somebody is so much more beneficial, and also they have like immensely better public transit systems. And so it's not such a big issue for you to like go around the country. Like if you were living in wherever in Japan, it's like the farthest you can possibly be from Tokyo is
Sure.
like a 3-hour train ride. So
which is crazy, man.
yeah, so that's why like the best players get to play against each other. But like back in like the pre-internet days, like in America, like when people wanted to like learn like techniques for like Street Fighter and Marvel, like there was a big like regional pride between like New York and like the West Coast and the Midwest and the South, and like they all had their own things because like these players didn't see each other except for like a couple times a year when they went to these major tournaments. But then in Japan and Korea, you have like all the players are either in Seoul or Tokyo, so they all are like playing against each other. They all share this information all the time. And then they come over to these international tournaments and just kick the shit out of everybody.
It would be kind of cool if we still had that regional thing, because I'm pretty sure a big thing with the East and the West of New York was because you played against the same people so often. You rarely played against other people. You developed almost like a style as that region.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'd be really interesting to know that, like, for example, in going back to League, China is way more aggressive and team fighty than most other regions that are more about macro play and trying to play the map. And I feel like that'd be a really interesting thing to like just kind of explore with like almost any game.
Sure. So you mainly just been playing League of Legends?
Well,
or?
the issue that I was saying is that if I want to devote that much time to League, I've been playing also a little bit of Tekken on the side.
Yes.
Okay.
And put a little bit more time into Brian. Figured out some combos. Showed
You
Scotty,
like it, Brian?
dude. Brian's my dude, man.
That's
Apparently
awesome.
he's reviled online. People don't like him. He's got some cheap, quote unquote, cheap moves.
Yeah,
But I mean that's just what fucking scrubs say.
I mean, I've only heard that about like Lucky Chloe and Eddie are the two online characters.
Yeah, like the gimmicky online people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just that Brian probably just has like good buttons.
I think he has a really good offense, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
And that's probably it, that he's just like, if you make a mistake and you get punished heavily.
Yeah.
But he also probably has hard ways to open somebody up. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun exploring him. He does. I like the way you input his combos, and he has potential to do like a lot of damage, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. Just
But
destroy someone's health bar.
yeah, in between League and Tekken though, I've been playing. I just got Golf Story.
Yeah, I want to know what the
On
fuck
the
Golf
Switch?
Story is. That's the answer I was
I
waiting
guess
for.
I thought people
is what the fuck and why did they name a game Golf
I
Story?
thought people were familiar with this. So
I'm not.
I am not familiar with the games that this is playing homage to, but back on the Super Nintendo days, there was like the Super Mario Golf games.
Vaguely remember this.
I
Yes.
played the
Yes.
one on GameCube, Toadstool Tour, and on N64.
Yes.
Those were great fucking
Yes.
games.
Yeah.
But so apparently it was a big deal. I didn't know because I never really fucking played golf games like that. But that Camelot, who developed all of those like Mario like baseball, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, all those games was Camelot.
You guys remember Mario Soccer?
Dude, Super Strikers
That was
a
That was
great
Wii, right?
fucking game.
Yeah, that was
GameCube
one of the-
and Wii.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
so-
GameCube is the one I'm thinking of.
So an
Yeah.
early Wii game?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a sequel that came out on Wii.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But those games were a lot of fun. Oh, I loved all those Mario sports
Yeah.
games. But
I didn't mean to derail.
back to the golf. What they developed was that like 3-click system where it's like, so you have the bar, right, and you have like a little diamond and it slides up and down.
Yeah.
So you push A once, it goes down. You push A at the end to like get as much power as you can, and then you push A again when it comes back, and you try to like land the target right on where you started, and that's your accuracy. So it's the first click to start. Second click is power. Third click is accuracy. It's
What's
like a
the art style like? Is it
This one is like 32-bit Super Nintendo.
Oh,
art style.
okay. So it's actually kind of like retro inspired.
Yeah. So yeah, this one is like an homage to those games. With so apparently in the original Mario Golf on Super Nintendo that I didn't play, it like was an RPG game with like level ups and stuff.
Yeah.
And so is this one. Like you do like little challenges. You know, it's like, oh, we'll hit this ball more than 300 yards or whatever. Get like so many consecutive, hits on the green. And I don't know. The game's a lot of fun. It's like the dialogue is funny. There's no voice acting. It's all text, but like it's still funny. The game actually makes use of what people have been talking about like a little bit on like the Switch forums. People who are like crazy into it.
Switch
like,
forums.
yeah, it's called I think they call it HD Rumble.
Yeah.
Which is like I didn't think it was such a big deal, but it does like enhance the storytelling part of it because like the characters don't talk, but like the like rumble like takes place like in different parts of the controller and it moves around like
Yeah.
and so they'll be talking in like a text bubble and they'll say something like, oh well, I've been practicing all day but I still hit like a triple bogey on the 4th hole, and then like the text bubble will like fall over onto the side and the like rumble will like follow on the controller with the text bubble.
That's really
and it's
cool.
It's really cool.
They had that with that. What's that Switch game that came out at launch? The party one with like a whole 50 different mini games on it.
Oh, the one that was
One Two
trash.
Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, they advertised the HD Rumble with that because there was a mini game where like, you had like there was like balls and
Yeah.
rings
Yeah.
was on the controller, and you could like figure it out by the
Yeah,
rumble.
it's really cool actually. The first time I'm seeing it like used to this extent in like not a tech demo kind of way.
Is this primarily like a single player game? Is
Yeah,
there
it's
story,
it's a
or-
single player game with like a rich story. So you play as this character, like in the little epilogue or the prologue, you play as this like kid, and you're like hitting balls on the green in this court, and like you're with your dad, and he's training you, and he's like, you're gonna be a star. You're like way ahead of all the kids your age, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it fast forwards 20 years. And it's like you haven't done anything with your life, and you're like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get back to golfing. And so you go back to like the golf club, and it's like in total disrepair.
Sure.
And the guy who runs it is like this corrupt asshole who's just trying to make money, and he's like let the club go to shit. And like everybody on the team is really shitty, so they never win any of the tournaments. But he doesn't care because he still like makes money by ripping them off.
So it
for
sounds
the
pretty
lessons.
story driven.
Yeah, it's a big, deep story. People, I think in the advertising campaign, or maybe just like on like a popular review, they put up like 5 stars or whatever.
Yeah.
They talk about it as a mix between like Mario Golf and Earthbound.
Okay,
which
I
is
was gonna
like-
ask if it was kind of like a little JRPG.
Yeah, it's a
and-
little JRPG. I think people say it's like Earthbound just because it's quirky. Like it's just
Sure.
weird,
Sure.
Like so you go to these different worlds. Worlds are like other country clubs, right? But those guys like it's like like a desert, and instead of bunkers, they have tar pits, and like all the people there speak like cavemen, and they wear like outfits like what's his name, Fred Flintstone,
Right.
and like their golf clubs are made out of bones and stuff, and like there's like a snowy place on top of the
Sure.
mountains, and like one on the beach and stuff. So it's like a pretty like deep story driven game. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. The gameplay's fun. You level up pretty fast so far in the beginning anyway, and it's cool. The level up system's cool too. Like you have this one big, like every time you level up, it shows you like a screen with like 5 bars going down, and the top one is this big red one, and it says power, and
Yeah.
it's like this is the one you want to upgrade. But every time you upgrade power, it makes your other stats go down, and your other stats are more precision ones. So it's like accuracy, spin, like I think one's called like pureness, so it's like how straight your ball
Yeah.
flies. Like it's like stuff like that. These other stuff that you can put on the one's like degree of turning, so it's like better at putting. But like all of these things go down the more you put into power. But the more you put into power, you get this huge drive, and you can hit holes like way under stroke order or whatever they ask you to do.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah.
JRPG golfing. I wouldn't mind
Yeah,
that play.
the
It
game
sounds
is a
really
lot of fun. It's
interesting.
only $20 on the Switch.
I was gonna
it's
ask
pretty
that.
funny.
Pick it up now,
Also,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, support indie developers.
I'm not
Made
a
by
huge
one dude in Australia.
I'm not a huge sports game fan, but the idea of like kind of
Oh, yeah.
implementing like RPG or more like
Yeah.
JRPG and kind of a story-driven
Mm-hmm.
approach to sports games, that could actually get me into it.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot
little
of
bit
fun,
more.
and it doesn't have like it has these JRPG elements, but to me, it doesn't have like the grindiness of
Sure.
like traditional
Yeah.
JRPGs. Like
Damn
I don't think I'm gonna play this game for 100 hours.
I really wanted to grind in a golf game. That sounds deeply
You
satisfying.
gotta hit that hole in one 500
Five,
times.
yes. I'm sure there's an achievement for that. So that's what you've been
Yeah,
playing.
that was
Ian,
my
what have
week.
you been playing for the last little bit?
God, he's already taken all my. I've played Tekken and League,
Well, talk about Tekken.
dude. I mean, I'm playing a lot of Dragunov, and I love that
Who is
character.
Dragunov?
I don't, dude.
Sergey.
Yeah, Sergey Dragunov. He's like a mean Russian dude with a scar, and he never speaks. But
Except Ian's guy is wearing booty shorts
he only
and anime
communicates in
goggles.
groans, dude.
Is the booty shorts an alternate costume, or is this?
No, Ian had to spend in-game
Yeah.
currency
No,
to
you
get
had
the
to-
booty
Did this
shorts.
in-game currency cost real money?
No.
Let's get the root.
I'm
of
not
it.
gonna spend real money on. I'd
On
probably
booty shorts.
spend
I would spend
money
real
on-
money on booty shorts.
No,
Gotta
man.
make your
Digital
wife
booty
look
shorts.
good.
I just thought it'd be hilarious because the guy's so serious, and my guy's wearing booty shorts, dude. I mean, it's funny.
So this is kind of like a strategic online move.
Yes.
You want other players to view you in a certain way.
I throw people off, and then
They
kill
see
them
the
with
booty
those sick
shorts and they
combos.
run away.
Yeah, exactly. He's a scary dude, and with the booty shorts, he's even scarier, man. I mean, you don't fuck with Dragunov.
So do you feel like this is a game that you're able to dump a bunch of time? The more you play it, do you feel like it's very competitively viable?
100%.
100%? You think you're getting
Yeah.
your time out of it?
I mean, fighting games in general is almost always going to be
Sure.
competitively viable, unless they really screw it up. But yeah, Tekken is one of the harder fighting games, not execution wise, but because it's a 3D fighter instead of a 2D fighter. So
I didn't know that. I haven't played a lot of Tekken.
So unlike Street Fighter, where you only have to worry about the guy in front of you, this one's like somebody can sidestep attacks.
If you ever played
like,
Soul Calibur, it's also like the same engine.
Is this like the closest thing I could think of would be like Mortal Kombat Ultimate Alliance or something on PS2? Is it where you can?
Was that the one with the story?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
or Deadly Alliance, I think is what it was called. But you do have like a kind of a 360 arena you can move around.
Move all the way around.
Yeah, is that what Tekken's like?
So like, there's some moves that can like shoot, I guess is the right term, or you punch in a straight line or kick in a straight line. Sure. You can sidestep them, and because they've already committed to the kick.
What is the camera like in Tekken?
It looks 2D, but as soon as somebody like sidesteps, it'll kind of like. You'll just be close to the screen.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
It's still down to quarter circle forward to do a motion or whatever, and it kind of depends. It gets a little confusing sometimes, depending on the angle of the camera and depending on like where the other person is. But I feel like it really adds like a whole nother layer to fighting games, and it's it's so satisfying to just dodge somebody's punch and then like just get a cool like full ass combo off of it, and then just destroy them. Fighting games, one of the most fun things about fighting games is just laying somebody out and you just outplay them in that moment.
Do you think that this is a fighting game that could you describe it as like an entry level fighter maybe a little bit? Just is it like Street Fighter or something like that where if you don't practice and then you hop online, you're going to get destroyed because that curve moves so quickly.
Well, you're gonna get bodied for sure. All right, so I'd kind of describe it as entry level in the aspect that you can still go in, button mash, and do fun things.
Sure.
But it's also really bad for newcomers because it has no tutorial. Like zero tutorial.
Yeah.
And so if you want to learn certain things, you just have to look it up, which is what I've been doing. But there are definitely some fighting games out there, like I think the MVCI or Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah. We talked about that last week.
Is even worse about the whole like hopping online and then just getting bodied immediately thing.
Yeah.
Because that has such a like unique play style to it. So I don't know if it's the easiest game to get into, but you can definitely pick it up and like just play with friends and button mash and have fun and maybe get interested and try and get deeper into it.
Because that's always kind of been part of my issue with fighting games is I'll pick them up, right when they release, like Mortal Kombat X was a good example of this, and I played it pretty heavily for 2 or 3 weeks and was doing well. And then stopped playing for a week or two, and next thing I knew, I hopped online, and it was just I already fell behind. It was
I mean, with fighting games, there's like just a ton of legacy skill that kind of just you carry over anyways. Just because you play fighting games and you get used to it, they all kind of have the same
mechanics.
Hold block.
You're
hold
developing
back
the same muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. And then execution's a huge thing that a lot of new people struggle with, which is kind of good for Tekken because there's not like a ton of execution. I think the hardest thing is a quarter circle motion, which isn't hard at all.
I struggle with those, but
okay. Well,
if it's what you're talking about, where you move the left analog stick for a
like
quarter
down to forward. Or
Are
whatever.
you using a fight pad or
no? I have a fight stick.
You fight stick?
Yeah, but fight pads are fine.
Well, we use fight pads. The fight pad is a real thing that is separate from a fight stick.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Fight sticks, like basically think of like the thing at the arcade. Where you have like the little lever and then the 6 buttons. So a fight pad is like kind of like a controller, but it has a D-pad. Mainly, the good thing about the fight pad over like a normal controller is you usually want to use a D-pad, and on the Xbox and PS4 controller or Xbox and PlayStation controller, they're not going to really invest a whole lot of money into the D-pad, so it's kind of crappy. So yeah, fight pads are 100% a good investment. It's like $30.
But still, the winner of Capcom Cup 2016 Street Fighter won with the PS4 pad.
Yeah. Sure,
you can win.
You can
win with
like it's. I don't know. To me, it's like I see a lot of things still through like this like soccer lens because I played it for so long. It's just like, okay, you can get the same boots that Cristiano Ronaldo wears. It's not gonna make you kick the ball like Cristiano Ronaldo, right?
Exactly.
So like you can get these arcade sticks that'll give you a 1%. Skill increase over whoever your opponent is, but like you still have to put in the work. It's not going to make you any better.
Yeah, the only reason I got the arcade stick is because I'm an idiot.
Sure.
I was just like, that looks really cool, and I want to be good at
I would
fighting
like
games.
to get an arcade stick in the future, but I want to put in like the requisite time to be like, this is not a waste.
This is
literally
actually
my
a
first,
reason.
like one of the first fighting games was like Street Fighter 5, which I know is not a great game, but it was like I got 50 hours, and I was like, I guess I'll drop $200 on a fight stick.
That's how much you spent on a fight stick?
That's not how much it has to cost, by the way.
Yeah, it doesn't have to cost that much. I was literally just like, I gotta get the best. I want to be the best. And then I bought it, and then I quit Street Fighter.
I imagine this is keep your motivation strong for continuing to play
I've
fighting
honestly,
games.
like, I mean, I look at it, I'm like, I should probably play fighting games, but especially when Street Fighter V was like the main game that was out. But now, I mean, there's so many good fighting games with MVCI and Tekken and Mortal Kombat XL is kind of old, but Injustice 2 and Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. I mean, there's so many good fighting games out right now that it's just like forcing yourself to play Street Fighter V is just not fun.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine it would be. So that's cool. Got some Tekken and that. All right, so for me personally, I've been playing Divinity 2: Original Sin.
I'm really jealous.
10 out of 10 game, best RPG of all. It
You
has
have
its
to buy it now.
No, okay. So I do think that this game is, in summary, a CRPG, which stands for Combat RPG, which is kind of a stupid, arbitrary thing to call something. Now that different from like action RPG, but it's based off games of old, kind of the Baldur's Gate series, Icewind Dale. More recent years, you have Dragon Age Origins, which we've talked about in the cast before.
That kind of game.
Yeah.
Pillars of Eternity is another one.
Yeah.
But Divinity Original Sin, the first one came out a few years ago and was crowdfunded, and this one is also crowdfunded.
I did not know it was crowdfunded.
Yeah, it's completely crowdfunded, and of course they got the money for the second one. The first one was really well received.
Yep.
So Divinity Original Sin just came out of early access.
I heard good things about it.
I mean, it also doesn't hurt that game is one of the few co-op CRPGs that like.
I think it is the only.
Like the way
co-op.
I saw it described is just like if there was anything that you didn't like about Divinity 1, they got rid of it in Divinity 2.
It's just better.
So just get Divinity 2.
I want it so bad, man. It seems so good, and I loved the first one even though I haven't beaten it.
So it just came out early access. It was in early access for a few months, and that was one act of the game, which was about maybe from what I can tell, is 20% of the game maybe. It took me over 20 hours to get out of Act 1.
Jeez.
I'm in the middle of Act 2 right now, probably around 35 to 40 hours. And it is a fantastic game. It exceeded... I don't even really... I have some nostalgia for this genre, for Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Amn, specifically. It's kind of revered as one of the all-time greats, and Planescape Torment as well. But I've fallen out of the genre for a long time. I haven't been able to get into long RPGs.
So I've been wondering, like, looking into getting this game. Can you explain, like, the classes that are available, like just like the character creation system that's involved?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like maybe like the first 5 hours of the game.
First 5 hours of the game. That's quite a lot.
Right,
there's a lot going on.
You enter
Just
into
like-
a cave.
I'll
There's
try to
torch
give
on the
a
left.
I'll try to give a general overview. You start the main menu,
Yes.
and you hit
What does the main menu look like?
Well,
does it say
it's
press
kinda beautiful.
any
There's,
button,
like,
or
a
does
river-
it say press start?
So this game has
space
two
bar,
ways
sorry.
of controlling: gamepad or
jeez.
keyboard. So you have press A to start, or press any key.
Which one's better? Though?
And then, but the funny thing is whichever one you press, you're locked into unless you restart the game.
Oh, no.
So this was your first important decision on this
Okay.
journey.
All right.
So many.
So you start a new game, and then you can either create your own custom character, or you can use an origin
They have like
character.
templates.
But it's more than that. They're called origin characters, and they are characters with complete quest lines, personalities, voice acting. So really, most people that are playing
Is
this
that
are-
what you've done?
yeah, most people are choosing an origin character as their main guy to
Okay.
experience the story.
How many are there? Like,
There's
Six?
6. Yeah, there's 6.
are they
or
different?
7.
Like, are they like classic RPG, like rogue, tank, mage, whatever?
I think you can. I think it's just like you basically have that character, and then you can kind of make them what you want to make them.
You
right?
you can choose from a class, but you can make, there's like 7 or 8 like schools of magic, say, and then you put individual points into those. So like if you choose a knight, like you start with say like 3 warfare or something, which increases your physical damage, but then you can immediately just start dumping points into necromancy, and then you could call yourself a blood knight for role playing purposes or whatever. But you choose an origin character, and the game starts out and you're on a prison ship, and you meet the other origin characters there, and you can have 3 of them join your party, up to 4. And also in this game, you can either choose to go with a party of 4, which is the more traditional approach, or you can take a talent or a specialty that gives you stat bonuses. It's called Lone Wolf, and you can it scales, and you can either play the game with one character or two characters. So you can essentially play with 1, 2, or 4 characters with basically no disadvantage.
And have you played this with somebody else yet?
I have played about 15 to 20 hours with my girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
We both have game pads hooked up, and we're running on the TV, and you can assign which characters each player will control.
Yeah, you can do that in the first one,
which is really intuitive. So I'll control 2 characters I like. I gave her 2 characters, and it dynamically does split screen depending on what direction you run in. If you're together, you're on the same screen.
Yeah.
She could run off to the other side of the map and start doing a quest that has nothing to do with what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really special game. Like, I get excited talking about it.
Dude, I mean, I remember loading into the first one because there's only 2 player, and I was playing with my buddy Jeremy.
Yeah.
And it was just discovering new things and discovering, like, you know, something as simple as there's a ship in the harbor and it's on fire, and I so happen to have a rain scroll in my inventory, and without any dialogue being prompted to me, I just cast it, it puts out the fire, and I basically completed a quest.
So that really, like, hits the head on something that's special about this game is, and it's criticized a lot for its main story or lack thereof, in the first one especially, and they kind of fixed it a little bit in the second one, where the main story really isn't that strong, but it's more about all these experiences. Like, it's the atmosphere, it's you're wandering through the woods, you dynamically run into this little side quest. And another thing that they fix from the previous game and other CRPGs is it's not drowning in dialogue. The dialogue is quick and snappy. I never feel like I'm reading a book. Like no offense, Witcher kind of made me feel.
Yeah,
really
definitely
big.
got that playing.
Yeah, it was. This game is just, the dialogue is so snappy. It's all voice acted. It's just a great game. I won't go too long on about its pros. A few of the cons, which I feel like people aren't addressing just because it hasn't been long enough yet, is the scaling is weird. Balancing in that game is weird. If you play with 2 characters with the lone wolf thing I was talking about earlier, the game is really easy because 1 character has the strength of 4 characters.
Jeez.
So if you do 2 characters with that talent, you now have the strength of 8 characters. So that part of the game is kind of buggy right now.
So you want to play it with like a standard 4?
That's how I've been choosing to play it. It feels like the way it was intended. The other small issues, inventory management on gamepad is an absolute chore.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
The UI is the best it could be almost for that type of game, but playing with gamepad is not always ideal. And also there's difficulty spikes that are kind of insane. Every time you start in a new act, you have to spend so much time like gathering experience and buying equipment to get yourself to the point where you can even do a single quest.
I kind of like that though. It's almost like the story's leveling up and you gotta gear up.
It's good because it's challenging, but also like today I spent maybe 4 or 5 hours just selling and trading and like getting equipment.
But that's
and
so
like
cool.
It's a little much managing.
4
that
hours is maybe a lot, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, just the fact that you have to go through all this. All right, we need new gear because we can't do these quests because we're in a harder place or whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's challenging, which that type of game has to be, and they aren't always. But then, as the act goes on, and you do get all that stuff, it almost gets too easy. It's not an even difficulty curve.
I got you.
It's definitely spikes where it's really difficult and just like absolute punishing.
Now,
like you'll reload a fight 6 times.
is there difficulty like settings at the beginning of the game?
There's Explorer, Classic, and Tactician, with Tactician being the hardest, and I'm playing on Classic.
Okay, so that's like medium.
It's the
recommended one.
And the games like this, I always go with the recommended setting. Tactician sounds brutal, but then again, people are going duo lone wolves or what it's called, and then just trivializing that.
Yeah.
So it's just the game balance wise is in a weird spot right now.
It's also, I feel like part of that game's difficulty is just how well you can think outside the box. So like if you're trying to go in and you're going to be like, I'm going to cast a fire spell on that guy, that's one way of doing it. But then, you know, maybe you can cast a fire spell on, you know, a poison barrel right next to him, and then it explodes the barrel and he explodes and you do more damage. Or there's like so many environmental interactions in that game that it's just mind-boggling. And you can take down things like, I remember when I was playing the first one, and we were trying to take down this boss at this lighthouse, and he was destroying us, and then we just did some crazy poison fire barrel combination thing that worked out so flawlessly. It was beautiful, and we killed him, and it was just so satisfying to just like outthink almost this crazy boss.
There's definitely a thinking layer to it, and something that's actually worth mentioning about combat and everything you just said is there's no RNG in this game at all. There's no RNG in the combat other than chance to hit, but beyond that, the game has very specific rules, and those rules are unchanging, so you can think your way through anything. And if you develop a strategy, that strategy will continue working. There's no RNG fighting against you, which is common in a lot of RPGs these days.
Now this is going to sound a little weird. Have you played Prey?
No, I have not.
Okay, so Prey to me strikes this same feelings that I get from Divinity, and just like you get into this like world that's like feels lived in, and you can just do so many crazy things.
Yeah.
And it's not to the extent, it's not an RPG in the sense of like Divinity, but it's very much that kind of like you can just outthink certain things and create interesting, I guess, solutions to problems that you have.
And the cool thing about Divinity 2 is that interesting solutions don't necessarily just apply to combat. I was doing a quest today where I had to get someone out of town, and he started following me. And I was like, I spent the first few attempts being like, okay, I'm going to try to sneak through this town. And the guards kept catching me. And then I realized I had something called a teleporter pyramid in my backpack. And basically what that does is you have two pyramids, and you can put one somewhere and then teleport to that one that you just placed. So I gave it to another character, ran her out of town, and then used the teleport pyramid and dragged him with me to her to help him escape.
That is so cool.
The amount of freedom you have, like I said, isn't just exclusive to the combat. It's a part of the entire game. You can kill anyone, and you might kill like someone that's going to help you or be kind of a quest giver. You might end an entire side quest by doing it, but you could go through the game and slaughter every single person and still complete the game.
And with like the origin characters, I bet you could go through the game again and still get a lot of replayability, just because you said you can only have a maximum of 4 and there's 6.
Yeah.
And you can select the other 2, and see where their kind of quests lead. And I feel like that'd be really cool to go through the game, especially because you could just also do different builds for different characters and try different things. I mean, that game just strikes me as such like a huge open-ended RPG that you can just keep on going back to, especially because you can have you can do like a dungeon making kind of thing where somebody can like craft a dungeon.
I've not done that, but I've seen it. Game Master.
Yeah, like somebody's like crafts a dungeon and crafts bosses, and then you have 4 of your buddies go through your dungeon, and you can like
really cool.
you can like make things, and it sounds so good.
I'm almost surprised, especially as I'm talking about now, like I don't have that much to complain about with it, and I love to complain about games. I love to pick them apart, but it's so difficult. The good overshadows any bad. I swear I had more bad points on it, and I just feel like they're completely overshadowed
I'm gonna have to
by it. It is really one of the best RPGs, if not one of the best games of the last decade, probably.
I'm so glad.
It is deeply satisfying in a way that I never expected.
I'm really glad, because I feel like those games could be so fantastic if we just get more people on them.
Yeah, and I think this one is going to be, which is going to be kind of funny to see where the genre goes from here. I definitely think this one is touching a wider audience than any CRPG that came before.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's nothing but good things, because people will see the success of this one. And, I think the company is Larian Studios.
Yeah, Larian Studios.
So they can learn even more from the second one, and then people that want to hop in on this, I know the Pillars of Eternity people are making a new CRPG.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about Larian, too, though, is a lot of people don't know this. This is like the 4th or 5th Divinity game.
Yeah.
There was Divinity 1 and 2 before Divinity Original Sin.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I'm really excited, and I really hope that the genre continues to grow.
So moving on to Cuphead, which I played a little bit myself, about maybe like only really an hour or two. It's basically like this platformer, uber difficult platformer with this kind of old style of 40s, 50s, 1930s.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie type
cartoon kind of.
It's all hand drawn, which is what's really mind blowing to me. Is like it got delayed and pushed back, but it's so interesting to look at that there's no bad shot in that entire game. I've never looked at any point in that video game and been like, that looks
There's
bad.
so much to enjoy too, like with every frame, because it's not just like Cuphead looks good and the bosses look good, the enemies look good, the projectiles and stuff look good, but also like the backgrounds are always like like just these varying color palettes, and like there's like a little movement always happening, and it just looks so nice. And
really
the aesthetic is so just like spot on.
Which
Exactly
is probably why
what you
it took
want.
so long.
Oh yeah, it
to
was
come
all
out.
hand done.
Yeah, it was years of development work.
And it was only like 2 guys doing it, or 2 or 3
That's
people.
crazy. I didn't know it was only it was that small of a team.
Yeah,
It was announced originally, like 3
A
4
while
years
ago,
ago.
yeah.
It's been a long time
Yeah.
coming.
It just oozes style, man. I mean, every boss in that game just is so
and it has
well
a
done.
also an original soundtrack as well. That soundtrack is so good. It's like the classic 1930s, like
The
I don't know,
jazzy-ish
jazz,
kinda.
It's almost kind of strange that like this game that oozes style with this great soundtrack and everything ends up being like one of the most difficult platformers of recent years.
It is pretty hard, but it's not like
Unbeatable.
yeah.
It's-
I don't even think it's meant to be like this is so hard that game. They never talk about the difficulty of the game in any of the advertisements. Like that's never brought up. It's all about the art style and
Well,
like
maybe I'm just bad at games or something, but
no,
that
it's definitely.
well,
might-
it's
might
definitely
be-
it's definitely harder, but like I don't know. I guess it's just something people say. Is just like
yeah.
you know.
I mean, there's also like, there's 2 modes off the bat called regular and simple.
yes.
And I think with simple, if you beat it, it doesn't really count. It's just kind of like getting your foot in the water about the boss and seeing all the phases.
I immediately start on regular when I start playing.
well,
and then,
we're not all epic gamers like you.
I know, not everyone can be. Not
But then
everyone.
there's a third difficulty that unlocks after you beat the game.
I just can't even imagine that just playing regular. I beat the first boss, and it is doable, and you learn the patterns like any game in that style. It just kind of, I thought it was more casual. Like everything about the style of the game,
Oh,
I thought it was going to kind of be a more like casual, fun adventure. I was like, oh my god, there's a million things happening.
You know, the thing that like somebody mentioned on a stream I was watching was like actually like that like switch that we think of like as a sort of bait and switch is like if you go back and look at those old school cartoons, they were violent as all hell.
Oh,
and so
really?
it's like par for the course. Like even like Tom and Jerry, which is not that old. Like if you go back and watch like some of the older Tom and Jerry, you're like this is like fucking violent. That's when like what was that fucking Itchy and Scratchy on The Simpsons is like so violent because the original cartoons that they're based off of were so crazy violent where like Popeye would have to save his wife from getting cut in half with like a fucking buzzsaw, you know? Like it's like hardcore shit that it's like maybe we shouldn't be like showing this to children.
Yeah,
They
I
changed
guess
it
the
up.
main story in Cuphead is like you
Deal with the devil.
You deal with the devil.
Yeah, your Cuphead is at the casino with is it his brother Mugman?
Yeah, I think
or
it's his brother,
just his
Mugman.
friend. But yeah, we'll say his brother Mugman. They're at the casino playing craps or whatever, and Cuphead's like taking him to the cleaners, and then the devil who owns the casino comes out, and he's like, "I'll make one last bet with you, your soul for I don't know, shit ton of money or something."
Yeah.
And Cuphead's like, "Hell yeah!" And Mugman's like, "Don't do it!" And then of course the devil wins. And they're like, well, please don't take our soul. And he goes, well, I got all these debtors who like owe me souls, so you go collect their souls for me, and maybe I won't take yours. So that's the story, and the game is just like straight up like boss fights and run and gun
And I
levels.
really think that it's good that it has like a simple story that's not like super complex and trying to break ground on like some crazy narrative. It's just like, hey, it's a simple story. Go kill some bosses, but everything looks really good.
So there's run and gun levels, which is kind of like
Similar to
they're
Contra.
smaller. Yeah, they're smaller enemies, and you're kind of going through it, and then there's the boss battles. Have you guys seen any modes outside that without any spoilers?
No, just run and
No,
gun
they
and boss
It's
battles.
just
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah, and the run and gun levels end with like a little like mini boss.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't actually finished a run and gun.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
I've only
the
finished
run and
boss
gun
battle.
levels have like a boss that has like not that much health compared to like a real boss that takes like like a whole like 20-minute fight or whatever. Not 20 minutes, but
Yeah,
like
it's not that long.
yeah,
It's
the
like 2
fights are
minutes.
never that long. But like no, but like on just a boss level,
Yeah.
you know, like how long that boss fight takes compared to the boss at the end of a run and gun level.
Yeah, the boss at the end of like a running gun level is like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, based on my hour with it, if you got to the end of a run and gun level and then had like a long boss fight, that would be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, there are no checkpoints in this game, so.
Now, I do like that it shows, every time you die, it shows a bar and shows you how far you progress in that level.
Yeah.
Without that would seem maddening to me. At least I could see the progress I was making, even though I was dying over and over.
Have you played that with like somebody else or just kind of
No,
solo?
I've only played once again an hour or two by myself, my laptop with a 360 controller.
I got you. Yeah, I'm really interested in that game, but I think it's local co-op only, so you have to have somebody like right next to you.
It doesn't seem like a game that would really shine with co-op. Like,
I think it would,
it's
absolutely.
advertised as co-op.
It's like co-op
supposed to be.
first.
what
Yeah.
like so you have two cupheads or whatever. What happens when one dies?
You can
Like-
bring him back if you
Yeah,
parry his
parry
ghost.
his ghost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually easier probably.
Did you
Unless
guys-
they scaled the boss's health up with two
That'd be
players.
crazy.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the kind of like joke meme or like video of the guy that got stuck on the tutorial
Oh
level
yeah,
for like
reviewer.
yeah. It was. I did the tutorial.
Yeah.
It was not that bad.
No.
There's unless I didn't look at the review, so I don't know if the tutorial had the words in the background that says air dash or whatever, or if it was just blank on maybe his or something. But there's no way you can.
The guy was just bad.
Yeah, there's no way you can look at that and be like, I don't know how to do this. When
Yeah.
it's like words right behind it that says just dash.
Yeah. Now that we're kind of talking about it, I kind of see why maybe this game isn't getting above like 8 out of 10. So like it seemed like the average score was about 8 out of 10. There's not too much to really say about it. It does ooze this like style, and
Yeah.
I think
The gameplay is like tight and refined, but it's not like groundbreaking. It's
Yeah.
not revolutionary. It's just
Well,
the art style is like
The bosses are really good.
Yeah, but it's nothing like, I don't know, if you play a lot of shoot 'em ups, like I like to play shoot 'em ups on my phone. That's like the number one thing to play on a phone game for me. And that's like, to me, how I would describe the boss fights mainly is shoot 'em ups, where like you play as like, you know, one of these ships and there's just like 10,000 bullets coming down at you. Like that's to me like what it is. And the bosses are like, they are very, very well done, good shoot 'em up bosses, but it's not like I've never seen anything like this before, you know?
It's not like, you know, you're right. It's
Yeah.
not like creating a new
Like,
level
yeah.
of thing. It's not like a Dark Souls
Yeah.
type.
yeah, it's kind of once again kind of helped me understand those review scores a little bit more. If in our imaginary video game rewards of 2017.
Yeah.
You definitely have a runner for best style, but in terms of gameplay, it is what you'd expect other than the difficulty curve.
Speaking, we should do that. We should do like a
End
of the
year.
game of the year thing.
Yeah, we could do end of the year.
Yeah, like
Everyone
Yeah.
has their top
December.
5 or 10.
Yeah,
or whatever.
that's pretty cool.
and generally
Yeah.
how you would probably want to approach that is everyone kind of like picks a game, and then that's your game, and then you battle for it, and
Yeah.
like
Oh, man.
try to figure out Divinity Original Sin 2 is the best game of the year, decided
I'm not even
already.
sure I can argue with it.
No,
Same
that's the
year that
problem.
Breath of the Wild came out.
And
Oh,
PUBG.
that's true.
Mario Odyssey's not even out
Is
yet.
PUBG really? Can you like?
Well, okay, so that's like the early access part of PUBG is like, can you consider it because it's early access? But I feel like PUBG has gained so much traction that
PUBG was such a huge thing.
and also
though,
it might
this
come
year.
out this year.
But it's not for me. It's not like I go that is the best game of the year.
Well, some
you
people
know?
might.
Yeah, some people
Yeah.
would.
It's
I
just
would
like an
not.
incredibly fun multiplayer thing to do.
Yeah, that would not be the game that I would pick to defend in this imaginary scenario,
Yeah,
but
especially with the Fortnite drama and all this thing coming around.
yeah, definitely with the Fortnite drama recently. With it seems like games
What's this
are gonna.
Fortnite drama?
So it's like PUBG is obviously this
What
really
you
popular
expect.
Battlegrounds mod, right? Mm-hmm. But Fortnite is a different game entirely that's like a wave-based defense against zombies kind of thing, and you like build a base and whatever. And there's kind of drama surrounding that just by itself, but
Yeah.
because it's it's
By
been in
the
development for so
genre.
long, and then they released in early access.
It's just low. It's PUBG comes out to great success, and I don't think. And I kind of already knew. I already thought about this and knew it was coming. Games are going to start shoehorning in battlegrounds
Battle
modes
Royale
into
mode.
their games, and Fortnite, sure enough, was the first one to do it. But it's weird because it's a very early access game that wasn't even about that in the first place, and now we have an early access mode in the early access game emulating PUBG.
But still,
Yeah,
it has
it-
been received very well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think I haven't played it. I've heard it's been decent, but it's just kind of weird to me that, you know, what you're saying, how it is just an early access game, and their main mode is just their kind of it's almost to the wayside at this point.
It definitely feels like it's to the wayside, and the PlayerUnknown, I forgot his real name, came out
like
and
something.
Yeah,
PlayerUnknown something.
PlayerUnknown. He's
The
just
guy who made the game.
we'll just call him unknown. But he came out and said that he wants games that are going. He's not against people coming out and developing these modes for their games. He just wants them to have an original hook, and I think that's the main defense of Fortnite. Is its original hook is you can build anything. Yeah.
I mean, I can see that, but the problem is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds uses the Unreal Engine, right?
Yeah.
And then Epic Games develops the Unreal Engine, and Fortnite is made by Epic Games.
Ooh, yeah.
And the
So
problem,
are you saying they could have like looked at their code?
well,
and...
I mean, I'm not sure if that's how it works, where it's like if because you made the
or
engine,
they just are more familiar with the engine,
they're
so they
more
can make
familiar
a better
with it,
game.
and they're business associates, you know what I mean? Effectively, they're kind of partners, and the fact that Fortnite was advertising itself, they were saying, you know, we're heavily PUBG inspired. You know, it's kind of like, okay, you could just say, hey, this is a battleground type game, and then send it off on its own thing. But
There's two ways to view that, which is either like, yeah, that's kind of malicious, or you could give them credit for coming out and being like, yeah, we're admitting to this. Like,
I mean,
we are
with the
inspired by this.
zombie wave mode, as you're saying, like losing focus. I mean, I have heard that they're still like announcing updates and developing for that, but also, like a big thing I remember not that long ago people talking about on PUBG was like, PUBG came out and it was this great battle royale game that everyone finally wanted. Oh, they finally got it right. You know, that they don't have to deal with all this extra bullshit. But they still made, like, people still organically made custom servers with zombie game modes.
Yeah, but that's fine. But it's just the fact that Fortnite wasn't a Battlegrounds.
I think like
game.
the biggest question of all of it is what the fuck is Fortnite? Like, you have this zombie horde building, crafting, battleground, like. The game Fortnite kind of has a long history as well. It was announced years and years ago, and no one knew what it was, and it came out to be this horde defense thing, and now it's this battleground thing. It seems very opportunistic.
Yeah, it seems very suspicious to me. It's like too suspicious for them to just be like, all right, and now we're shifting focus to a battleground thing because we saw how popular this
PUBG
thing
was.
I mean, it's free to play though, which is great. The battlegrounds mode, but. What's kind of funny
is it free to play?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you still had to like buy into Fortnite early access to have access
funny
to it.
and what makes me think even more so that's shoehorned in is that the tutorial about how to even play Fortnite is in the paid version of Fortnite. So like you don't even know how to build as far as I know in the Battlegrounds version. You just kind of like figure it out, I guess. But it's just it seems very opportunistic to me and very just like, you know, we're blatantly trying to ride the success of PUBG, which is to be expected, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying PUBG is like faultless in this either. I feel like they've been really dumb in some of their like business decisions of late.
Sure.
Right. But I'd honestly side with them on this one, and I think Fortnite, like, it's okay if another game developer comes out and they're like, hey, this is a Battlegrounds inspired thing, but not like the company that you're basically working with.
I don't see the issue here. Like, I don't see why it's a big deal. Because, like, if you really want to, like, pull hair or split hairs here, it's like, you know, oh, well, PUBG only came about because DayZ had a mod, or Arma 2 had a mod that, like, turned into DayZ, that turned into...
And that's probably the best...
Battle Royale, you know? It's
the
like,
best counterpoint to what I'm saying. But, I mean, I don't know. I think in a perfect world it wouldn't matter. But I think with Epic Games and, you know, they could potentially just, you know, they have a better engine or they have fixes for their engine and they ship it out to their in-game development studios before they ship it out to
that's just like naturally like, you know, what's going to happen if you have to use someone else's engine.
Also,
because
it's on
Unreal.
Unreal.
Think that's like kind of scummy though?
Well, I mean, I think it's... I don't know. I think it's unfortunate, but it's just like a nature of like the system, like, you know, that we live in, that you can't just afford, like the guys who made Cuphead, right? These two dudes wanted to like make this like passion project of theirs. They like quit their jobs and like have like chronicled how they like, you know, skipped meals and stuff to like get this shit done because they wanted to like make a game, and like so they took a chance that it was gonna sell well and do well. So like if these guys want to like make their game, you know, and they don't want someone else to steal it, you have to make your own engine, right?
Well, and
that's
also
a lot to ask, though.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to ask for that, to make your own engine. So, but that's like, you have to know that's what's gonna happen. right? If your game sells well, people will copy it, including this major company that owns the engine. Why would you, if you were Epic Games,
right,
why wouldn't you do this?
Okay, I can see them potentially doing it, but why advertise it as a PUBG-inspired thing? Why
because
not just
if you
it
put
its own
PUBG, the
thing?
people who are getting tired of PUBG see PUBG inspired and buy that shit.
And you don't think that's opportunistic? Or, like, scummy?
It is scummy, but it's
Okay.
what you should do if you want to make money.
It's also inevitable. Like, my personal prediction is that this is going to be far from the last Battleground game.
Yeah, there's going to be 10,000 other ones before the year even ends.
Saturated.
This is the beginning.
But also on the engine thing, I would agree more if it was a more exclusive engine that people were buying rights. When you do buy rights on Unreal Engine, but Unreal Engine is like accessible by like everyone. We can get Unreal Engine. The only thing is if you can get it for free, I'm pretty sure, and the only time you actually have to pay anything is if your game actually starts turning profit. Like Unreal Engine isn't this super exclusive thing.
Right. But, I don't know. I mean, it's just I guess it's just your way of looking at it. I mean, I could 100% be wrong.
I think the scummy part of it, like we were just saying, is just that there's gonna be so many people banking on Battlegrounds.
Yeah, it's just like
it's a new genre.
Yeah, it's just like how, like, you know, if you think about it as like starting a business, that's how starting a business works. Like if you develop a delicious soda,
right,
eventually someone from Coca-Cola is going to come and say, "Hey, what'd you put in there?"
Hey.
You know, and then they'll make their own whatever cherry cola that tastes the same as you, but they have this huge fucking distribution that you don't have.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like with PUBG though, it's a little different, but
I kind of see where both of you are coming from. I think it's scummy. I don't think the engine is too big of a deal, but also I just think it's inevitable. It's going to keep happening.
It's just what's going to happen.
So,
sure.
But on a little bit brighter news, and especially in my world, the new Rocket League Autumn update. I am in love with it so far. Have you you played a little bit, Ian?
I played a little bit. I tried out the new map, and it was really cool. I don't know why, but Autumn to me is just like a really good season. It's just really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Autumn is the best season.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm on board with anything Autumn themed, but it's kind of like a farm. Almost.
Yeah. It's called a Farmstead, and it's Autumn themed. I personally, Rocket League is a feel good game. Especially
it's
for
not
me.
A feel good game.
Well, when
it's
you're not
game.
not in a match and people are yelling at you and you're not. Psyonix has kind of had like a great story so far. People love them. They're great with their community. They, for example, with this newest update just released banners, which are kind of these rectangular boxes that show up in game or on the main menu, where you can customize it and put your own images on it, or they reward you based on where you were, how you ranked in the last season. And people complained that the season reward banners had dragons around them or whatever, like they wrapped around the banner. And the first thing they do, not even within maybe like 4 or 5 days, is create all new banners in addition to the dragon banners, just because like some people complained about it and thought it was silly. Like they're so good at hearing their community in real time, and their updates continue to represent that. I always feel like in a game that start off with a real simple idea and simple maps, that there are doing things to make what could be a very stale experience and moving it forward in a progressive way.
Yeah, they've been really good about releasing DLC. I mean, I feel like it's almost every other month that I just see some new Rocket League thing with new free cosmetics, free maps, all this great stuff.
There's the season themed updates. They release their big updates seasonally, and then in between that there's always DLC, and it's always like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
Most of the like issues with Rocket League start happening at kind of a high level with matchmaking and like at a competitive level where no one really cares about it except like me and maybe like the other top 2% of the people that play the game.
Are you top 2%?
I am top 2%. I'm on the cusp of champion this
You're a
season.
Rocket League master.
I'm almost there. It's been a long journey. Lots of tears. Lots of...
You cried over this game?
I don't want to admit that.
Oh my god.
It was victory tears.
You saw a sick aerial and you're like, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I know. The feeling you get when you make a sick aerial in that game. But I think it's a testament to a great developer continuing forward. What we already knew was a great game, but not just giving up on it, not taking a direction that sour people experiences.
They just had a fantastic premise, though. There's not. I mean, their game before this, Superpowered Battle
Acrobatic Cars, Sarbark,
was interesting, and then they did this, and I think they attributed a lot of the success to. I think the first month it was out, it's free on PSN, right?
Yeah,
that's how everyone got it.
So it was just like instantly their population was huge. I knew that it was pretty popular in the beta, and I mean, there's just like you can't just go, oh yeah, there's 1,000 of those types of games,
Yeah, no, it was a completely original idea, and actually, for anyone that's interested, if you don't already know about it, Danny O'Dwyer, who used to work for GameSpot, shows up on Giant Bomb occasionally. He has a documentary series on NoClip, or on YouTube, called NoClip, and he does like these 6-part, like 2 to 3 hour documentaries on variety of video games. He did it for Doom. He's done it for
I watched that one. It was really good.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does, and he has one on Rocket League, and the origins of Rocket League go all the way back to a mod for Unreal Tournament.
Wow.
They worked on some mod for Unreal Tournament 2003 where they're driving around like the old Unreal buggy and like hitting a ball, and that spiraled into like Rocket League. While during that time, Psyonix was working on like kind of contract work for other developers. There was some, I think it was Vermicide or something like that. There was some multiplayer game on Steam that was short-lived, but they did contract work. Vermintide?
The Warhammer one, the wave-like thing?
It might have been that. It was some multiplayer competitive thing. I can't remember the name of it.
It wasn't competitive.
Either way, they were doing contract work, and then while they're doing the contract work, they were working on Rocket League in the background.
Okay, this wasn't Vermintide then.
Okay. But up until then, they were just doing contract work, and then we got Rocket League, and I don't know, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I've been playing it for over 2 years now on a daily, sometimes weekly basis,
and that's really cool. I really like those heartwarming kind of things where it's like, oh, we put our heart and soul into it. It's like what you were talking about with the Cuphead, and like they skipped eating and all that.
Yeah,
I think it's so awesome that you put this much time and this much care and this much effort into this game, and then you get it, and it sells wonderful, and everyone thinks it's fantastic. But I mean, that's one out of
validation.
1 out of 1,000 games, probably even less than that.
And then like next week, people are gonna be like, all right, Cuphead 2, where's it at?
Where's it at?
But and the other,
but they just go CGI, and it's just really crappy CGI. Like if you're watching an anime and you can just see something,
we wanted to make an
like,
homage to the early 2000s animation.
Yeah.
CGI.
And the other thing that they're doing really well is fostering the esports scene and not letting it die and not mismanaging it.
Yeah.
Viewership keeps going. It's still not huge. It's nowhere near the most watched games. It's nowhere near Dota or CS:GO viewership.
Once again, League of Legends.
Sure, that game.
Conveniently left out.
The
best video game
I don't
ever
understand
created.
MOBAs. I don't claim to understand MOBAs, but they've fostered the esports scene in a way that, I mean, you kind of always looked at that game and like you really literally think esport. I mean, soccer.
I guess.
Anyway.
Wow, another quality joke from our boy Matt.
Yes, that's what I'm here for. But they foster that, and they're growing it. It's coming to Switch. It is now almost on Minecraft levels of being on so many fucking platforms I can't even count anymore.
Yeah.
Soon you'll be able to play Rocket League on your phone.
You know what? Soon Stardew Valley's coming to the Switch.
Is it?
Yeah, that was announced just a couple of days ago. It's coming out in November, I think.
Yeah, I think it was coming out way soon.
It's coming out very soon.
Like I thought it was like this week or next week.
And I might get it. I've been interested in Stardew Valley for a little while now. That is like, if you want to talk about a comfy game.
Have you not played it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I bought it on PC. That game is great.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you not like Harvest Moon and shit?
I never played Harvest Moon. I got into Slime Rancher for a while. But don't ask me why.
I don't even know what that game is.
I thought I would like Stardew Valley because it was like this kind of, warm, grindy. I like grindy things.
It's not really grindy.
Well,
it's not like JRPG level of grindy.
No, but you spend most of the game like collecting and clearing out space and farming, doing the same repetitive task every day.
Man, what do you
yeah,
do?
That's what I mean.
Slime Rancher collect slime.
Yeah, no, I would say Slime Rancher is a grindy game. You're constantly looking for the next reward or upgrade.
Okay.
So I thought it would check a lot of boxes for me, and then I could never play more than an hour. I don't know if it was the art style or what it was. It never connected with me.
As we all know, Matt's opinion is worthless, and we don't listen to
Divinity 2, best game of the year.
Stardew Valley is fantastic, and it's a ton of content.
Not
and
dissuaded at all by.
They continuously release new things about it, and multiplayer is coming to it eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be great.
And especially if you liked Harvest Moon and whatever. Whew, it's so
Just to
good.
clarify, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I know that people love this game.
Right.
It never hit the spot for me, and I've tried multiple times.
That's fair. That's fair.
I was gonna try again because I know they're working on multiplayer, which is supposed to be out next year. So I wanted to sit down and maybe play that with my girlfriend and see if that kind of helped me get it.
Yeah, I get that. I guess it's really up to you if you're into that kind of game, and if you're not, then you're not.
And that's all we have to say about that.
But you know what I kind of do want to talk about is the voice actor thing coming to an end.
The strike.
The strike. What's everyone's thoughts on that? Do you have an opinion on that
I
series?
think it's good. It's turned out well for the voice actors.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They didn't get everything they asked for.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
So what happened in summary? Because
This
I'm
has
not
been going
overly
on
familiar.
for a while.
Yeah, a long
since
time.
last year.
Basically, voice actors weren't getting. I don't think it was even necessarily paid.
No, they were not. Oh, kick the table there. They're not getting the compensation that they believed they were owed, but there's also some other like shady practices going on that I learned about. Like they would not tell them what game they were working on, so like you could be working on like a level or I don't want to say Uncharted because like. Yeah, but like everyone on Uncharted knew they were working on Uncharted. But there are like games that on that level, like a AAA big budget game with like a huge advertising campaign, and they will not tell them the game that they're working on because they'll ask for more money if they know they're going to work on a game that's going to make a lot of money.
GTA 4 Nico Bellic or whatever, that voice actor I think wasn't told, or
yeah,
it was like there was some crap with him voice acting.
Yeah, something I heard something like that. But also, like they like. I don't know. There were no like laws or like laws against like how long their day could be. So like as a video game voice actor, if you're coming in to do like Uncharted, they're like, okay, what's the guy who does Nathan Drake? I can't remember his name right now.
Oh man,
but he's like everybody.
So many.
Right? He's in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
He's in so
anyway,
many.
Isn't he in Last of Us?
They talked to him like, hey, voice actor guy.
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I don't think that's him.
I'm gonna find out while you guys talk about this.
But anyways, they'll be like, "Hey, voice actor guy, we need you to do screaming when you're shot in the arm. Okay, that's good." The guy like screams his fucking lungs out, and then he goes, "Okay, that's good. Now we need another screaming animation to go along with when you get shot in the leg, and then you have to like literally stand in this booth. Your like entire career is based upon the health of your vocal cords and larynx and the rest of that." And you like sit in a sound booth and scream for like hours on end, and they're like, "All right, cool, we'll see you tomorrow to do like the rest of the audio." And like they just want like fair compensation and to like let them know.
I'm 100% down with the video game industry right now. Is just like pure passion. Like if you want to go into it to have like a healthy job and like good pay,
it's still pretty
it's
new,
not, you're not
I guess, so it
that.
doesn't have these.
But to me, one of the things they didn't get was scaling pay.
Yeah.
So it was
something
like,
I think they should get.
So you think they should?
I think they deserve scaling pay. Yeah.
Okay, but I'm down with them getting scaling pay. But I think the people that actually work on the game like every day.
Yeah, they should also get scaling pay, but they should also have their own union to fight that kind of thing and organize a strike to get it done.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's a little bit harder because there's a dime a dozen programmers and artists, right? And if it's like if you say, hey, I don't want to work on this because I don't get scaling pay, then I'm gonna come in there because I love video games, right? And
yeah, well, that's why it takes like a union, like you need everyone in it together because they will literally never happen unless they unionize. Why would you ever give somebody more money for a job that they're doing already?
I'm just saying, like, I don't want to say it's good that they didn't get scaling pay because it's not, but I 100% think they should not get it until the people that actually...
that doesn't make any sense to me. How is it detrimental? It's easier now for the developers to say, look, you have given the voice actors scaling pay, now we want scaling pay. You gave them scaling pay, and it didn't ruin the profits that you made, so now you can afford to give it to us too.
Because it's not going to... I don't think it's going to work like that with voice actors. Like, because voice acting is different than programming.
How?
Because programming is like, if I know programming and you know programming, we both know Java, right? We basically know almost the same thing, right?
Okay, but if you've already been working on a project for 6 months and then you get fired because you asked for more pay and they bring in another guy, you're as good as the guy who's already been working on the project for 6 months?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying...
so it doesn't, like...
But with voice acting, it's different. My voice is different from your voice, right?
Yeah, but they still replaced characters with known voices, like we were talking earlier about, Life is Strange?
Yeah.
They changed the voice actress for that.
Yeah, because she was on strike.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and I'm glad that they got some of the things that they wanted, but I'm saying I think that the people who are working tons of hours and crazy amounts of like stress and crunch times or whatever.
And you don't think the voice actors are working hard?
I'm sure they're working hard, but I just think the people that are like programmers and artists should get it first.
Yeah, but I don't know. They didn't fight for it. They didn't get a union to do it.
I think it's harder for like, because once again, you can be replaced as a programmer. You can't be replaced. Like the Life is Strange thing, the whole controversy was much larger than it would have been. The programmer number 45 got replaced on Life is Strange.
Well, it's like
what are we gonna do about it?
They didn't have like, you know, no scabs when they were working on the voice acting strike. Like, games still got made with voice actors who worked while there was a strike going on, who were not part of the guild or union.
It was only against like 11 companies or something.
Yeah, because it's these companies who wouldn't, you know, work with them.
They were like the worst of the worst.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is that like you don't need to have like obviously there will be scabs anytime there's a strike, but it doesn't like stop strikes from working, right? Strikes works all the time.
I guess, but I mean. I guess my point is, I just feel like as a voice actor, and if I'm known for my voice, and you're a company, and you have a main character, and it's my voice, right? It's a lot harder for you to replace me than it is for somebody else. Like,
I think it's easier to think that like a voice actor is more or less replaceable than somebody who doesn't have their, you know, personality that you would say is like working on the game. Like everybody who works on the game is important, right?
For sure.
So, like, that person, they do the job different. Like, I know, like, you know, you can be, like, objectively better than somebody else at coding or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, that person, it's still, like, a creative endeavor.
Yeah,
and so creation is, like, you know, unique. You can't just, like, you can swap out people, but the game will be different.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think there's, you know, one programmer that might be that level of important. You know, you're like the lead programmer, and you're telling people what you need to do and all this kind of crap. But then there's a ton of people that are just sitting there writing the code that, you know, they're not really creating anything that they're putting their own flavor into. You know what I mean?
I don't know. You're talking about like.
It's
like a AAA game, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the size of the crew making the game.
It depends on the size of the
you know, because some games
Right.
are made by 200 people, and some games are made by 20 people.
Indie games for sure aren't. I'm not talking about where it's like, you know, Cuphead is clearly like whatever you put in, you're putting your spin on that.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, indie games would be amazing to develop for, you know.
So was this strike more or less kind of centered around like whether voice actors had proper job security?
Well, not job
I don't think
security, but like it's treatment while you're on the job and
it's
fair
what
pay.
he's talking about, where it's like your voice is literally your job, and if you know a company
if you ruin
it,
your voice making one game and they don't pay you as much as you deserve for that game and the time and like effort that you put in, you know, and then you can't work again after that.
It also just seems like simple things. Like, why wouldn't you tell them the name of the game, right?
Yeah, because they don't want to pay them.
But it's,
you know,
like, it's even like, you know, they didn't even tell them, I think, what the type of game would be. You know?
Yeah, they're that's why they had to strike, because these guys are like fucking scum. Like,
well, the video game industry as a whole is
that's what I was gonna
no,
say.
this is
All
just
these
like big
extend.
business, like on that level. Like, if you're a company as big as like,
well,
you know,
specifically
Blizzard
with
like
games,
that.
so I've always heard horror stories, even other than like the really kind of close off companies like Rockstar. But you always hear horror stories from like EA and stuff of just like long hours and horrible conditions. And I mean, they're all getting paid salary, but as you know,
a really like morbid pleasure of mine is to read about like the stories about these like failed games. You ever read about that? Like when they changed directors 4 times, you know, and like 6 months before release, they were like, "We're gonna pivot, and now it's a family friendly game." And like crazy shit like that, and like just hearing some like disgruntled former employee write this tell-all about everything that went wrong behind the scenes.
It's because it's such like a high pressure thing, and one of the things like I've seen it personally of like people always want to be on salary, but the truth about salary is they can start working you however many hours they want
or whatever.
Yeah, so overtime styles being a thing, and such a high pressure, you know, you have to hit a release date.
Yeah.
You start working people for 16 hours a day, 5 days a week, and you have to be really passionate about game development, or
Yeah.
like, and it goes, when you say game development, that's very general. It's like you have to be passionate about that specific thing you're doing in game development. If you're going to be a video game programmer, you better love the fuck out of some C++.
So would you try, and would you go to like a company like Rockstar, even though maybe you get like worked to death, or would you try and make it on your own, even though chances are you will probably fail?
So, I would like to work for a smaller studio. I guess a little bit about myself here. I'm a CS student. I'm about to graduate, and I've been in between working in the field that I currently been working in, which is networking and internet, and game studio. I've thought about applying to some local game studios in Atlanta when I graduate, just to take a shot at it. See if, because I mean, I'm doing this every week. I love games.
Yeah, Tripwire's here, right?
Tripwire's here, and Blue
Hi-Rez.
Mammoth, Hi-Rez and Blue Mammoth Studios, which
What
does
is Blue Mammoth?
Brawlhalla.
Oh.
Brawlhalla.
Brawlhalla.
It's like a kind of Smash Bros type
And
game.
it's always growing here too. Atlanta's investing a lot in like the tech industry to get people to come down
Yeah,
here and
which
start.
is fantastic.
So as someone that's actually like considering working in game development as a programmer, probably specifically C++, I would rather work for a smaller studio. It hasn't even crossed my mind to apply to like EA or Blizzard or anything like
Do you
that.
even apply to EA like
Yeah,
that?
you do. It's
You
like
do.
any other job.
It's
You
like
go to the
any other-
website,
yeah.
ea.com
You just go to the listing,
careers.
send them your resume.
That'd be so weird.
I
to
can
just
send
be
my.
like,
I've looked at Blizzard's career page before, and you just email
Did you
them.
see? That Riot guy got fired, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
like somebody posted on the League of Legends subreddit, they were like, "Riot is now hiring for the whatever. Apply here and send in your resume."
That's amazing. Well, I mean, like that whole controversy was Tyler1 was I'm sure people have seen him, but he's a Twitch streamer, which is a website where you stream yourself playing video games, and he is notoriously angry, and very toxic, and just bad all around.
Just like many other
Not a
streamers.
great, not a great guy.
But
So,
yeah, he was a kind of a shitter
Yeah,
in his
so
league playing days.
He was a league streamer that would int, which means you basically
intentionally feed, die
where you-
on purpose.
Yep, and when you die, you give the other person that kills you gold, which you use to buy items and power yourself up. So he would basically die on purpose because he wanted to piss off his teammates and ruin their game. And Riot banned him. Riot being the
Well,
company
he had like I checked, it was like 8 different accounts
yeah,
banned.
he has a lot.
And then he got like permabanned for life, where it's like Riot's like,
Yeah.
if we ever find out that you are connected to an account, it's permabanned.
Yeah, and supposedly he's changed. Supposedly
Yeah,
he's gotten
reformed.
better.
That's the meme.
And
He is pretty funny. He pulls big numbers as a variety streamer, but
does.
he did recently say that like he really wants to stream
he
League
does
still.
not
He's
like-
definitely like, he's clear that like, I still play League in my time off. I just don't stream it anymore, and I like love this game and I want to stream it again.
I feel like that's really shaky territory when you build a Twitch audience based on kind of being angry and toxic, and then a company bans you for it, because that's like fucking with someone's career, and he created
but-
a viewer base off of it.
what do you mean? Like, you think it's bad for Riot?
No, I don't think it's bad for Riot. I just don't know if they should be stepping. It's such a weird thing, because I feel like he's almost justified, because what he did works and it makes him money and it's got him an audience, and then a developer stepping in and fucking with what is making him. It's his career.
Look, let me explain something else to you though.
Sure.
Okay, so Tyler1 was he a master tier player or challenger tier player?
I think he was mad. I don't think he was challenging.
Okay, well, he's a master tier player, which is the second highest tier in League of Legends.
Yeah.
There's like an incredibly small player pool in master tier. So he's playing with a lot of the same players over and over. He had a literal like intentional like a list of like, if one of you's in my game, I'm intentionally feeding.
Yeah, he was
Like,
scum.
Yeah.
Scummy.
But yeah, so like
But people obviously
no,
want
so
to see
these
that.
people no,
Yeah,
yeah, people
because-
want to see that, but the people he's playing against so consistently reported against him. The posts about him on the League of Legends subreddit, which Riot like has employees like monitor the League of Legends subreddit like for feedback and stuff. Like, there were constantly people saying like, you need to ban this guy. This behavior is not good because he shows other people that this is okay. You will not be punished if you act this way.
Yeah.
Or they'll punish people and they'll go, well, how come you didn't ban Tyler1? Tyler1 does all this kind of stuff all the time. So they they
gave him a chance though. You can't say that they didn't, because
they did give him a chance. They put him on like a
accounts.
probation for a while.
And
too.
he just kept going. So I mean,
I'm just trying to imagine from his perspective, and if I was in his shoes and I built an audience based off this.
I'll just come out and say I don't think I'm not against him being unbanned now. There's a talk of that happening.
Reformed.
Yeah, he says that he's reformed. So like, I mean, obviously you get mad playing League.
Yeah,
Everyone gets fucking mad playing
yeah.
competitive games like that. But like, you're not going to be doing this egregious shit like
give him a
intentionally
timeout
feeding
for a
and
bit.
stuff.
Yeah,
Because like he is funny, he has a good streaming personality, and he is really fucking good
Yeah.
at the game.
I mean, but you accept like a contract or whatever. You know when you scroll through all that crap and you accept it, you accept Riot's terms of service.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're gonna stream it, you're basically, let's say like I'm a Cutie Pie is a giant streamer and he doesn't pay Riot shit, but Riot's effectively making him a ton of money.
Yeah, he's like a millionaire.
Yeah, as long as you just don't literally ruin everybody else's game, you're okay.
Yeah, and even then, people still get pissed at Cutie. You have to like, people will like fucking bitch at you for anything in this on the internet because like people ain't got shit to do. They'd be like, oh well, Cutie Pie wants to play like fucking I don't even know AP Caitlyn or something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
Some dumb shit that's like definitely not good. And people are like, oh well, I lost my series,
Yeah.
because I got into a game with Cutie and he wants to stream some funny shit instead of try hard to win. But like,
That's
I don't know. It's just like a nature of streaming and like making your money off that.
Yeah, it's I guess it extends to a large issue. A whole is people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of or millions.
Cutie Pie is like confirmed making multi-millions.
Are you saying Cutie Pie?
I'm a
Cutie
Cutie
Pie.
Cutie
I'm
Pie?
a Cutie Pie. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
Have
his
you
name.
not seen this guy?
No,
He has like
haven't.
20,000
Yeah,
people
he's like
on
the
average.
biggest.
Okay.
Well, not the biggest, but like one of the biggest consistent League streamers.
He's gigantic.
Either way, when you're making millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, it just becomes so like that it's a very unregulated space, and the idea that it could get cut off by a developer, I can imagine is scary for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you have to just know that like we don't know how long streaming is going to go on. Like I was thinking about this, like I watch like avoiding the puddle. Like I watch that stream all the time. I think it's hilarious. Like whatever game he's playing, I'll watch it and just think like, how long is he going to stream, and how long am I going to keep watching this? Like as like. Just like background noise. Not like I sit down and be like, oh, 8 o'clock, gotta watch Twitch. Like, like
some people do, though.
People do that, yeah.
But for every you that leaves, there's another, maybe 2 people that come in.
Yeah.
As long as Twitch is pulling in new numbers, which I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like just like a personality. How long can one person stay like the dude on Twitch,
well, I mean, like, there's, speaking of podcasts, people have been doing it for years, and like Bill Burr has done it since like
Bill Burr was one of the first with the podcast.
He's like years and years and years. I mean, this guy just sits down almost religiously and does this crap.
Mark
I mean,
Maron too.
If you like it, and if we like playing video games, if I can sit down and play video games and stream it to some people and they want to watch it,
Yeah, I don't think Twitch is going to be going anywhere unless there's some massive shifts in gaming.
Twitch, but like no, I'm saying like if you as an individual are a person who makes their money primarily from
single
streaming,
person,
like
sure.
you have to think that like this like there's a really good chance this is not always going to be as good as it is.
Yeah, but I mean, then
for you as an individual, like someone else will come and be the king of the mountain, but like your time.
That's true for anything like that. Even actors.
And I mean, it's to the point where if you're big enough to where like if
but
you're
actors have stuff like working, they get like benefits and stuff.
Yeah, and they continue to make royalties off things.
Yeah.
But in terms of streamers, as long as they're safe, I mean, it's up to them to save their money.
Yeah, it's sort of like being like
wisely.
an athlete. Like these kids make it to the NBA and they're like 20 years old and suddenly they're millionaires, and it's like, hey, do you know about like stocks and bonds and shit?
I mean,
as
long as
you better.
I'm buying 10 Lamborghinis. Like, what are you talking about?
It's definitely a much more free kind of market where it's like it's up to you to make sure that you invest this money correctly and you save this stuff. And I mean, a ton of streamers are all about growing their brands, and a lot of them, like Scar for example, is a pretty popular streamer, and he's been kind of growing his brand outside of just playing League of Legends. He's playing he liked HOTS a lot, and he's also like on a ton of podcasts now about League. So he I think it's definitely 100% about streaming and investing and making sure that you're good with your money, but it's also just about growing the like I'm a Cutie Pie brand or the I'm Matt brand.
Yeah, and I guess what Sirius is saying is once again that just can't go on forever. You know, you can grow to a certain point.
Could, but it's like realistically.
Yeah, realistically, there might be the one or two people. Like I could see the person that comes to mind on Twitch that I think would make it for the long haul. Whatever the long haul on Twitch looks like would probably be someone like Co Carnage.
Yeah,
but
who's that guy?
I don't even know who that is.
You guys have never seen Co Carnage?
No. But I'm just thinking of like
he's
I just
stable.
got this like funny image in my head of like me being like a 50-year-old dude watching like another like 60-year-old dude I've been watching for 40 years.
That's how I think about like if you're like a pro player in like any game, right? You got like 5 years.
Well,
Yeah.
the reason I brought up Coke Carnage like specifically is he's a more kind of middle-aged guy already. His entire audience is not based on toxicity or anger. It's just a chill dude that plays. He's the most like kind of neutral person I've ever seen on Twitch. Doesn't get mad. Doesn't bank on any of that shit.
What does he play?
Everything. He's a variety streamer. He plays games to completion. He most recently did Divinity Original Souls. I'm not even like a huge fan of his by any means. It's just when I think of him on Twitch, I think of like this is a stable, nice, kind of approachable persona that could
The other kind
last.
of weirder side of this is like when you get up there in age. Like for example, there was a streamer recently, Bike Man. Have you heard about this?
No.
He had a heart attack, like almost on stream, like a mini heart attack, and he popped some. What's that crap you're supposed to take whenever you have a heart attack?
I don't know. I don't have
Oh,
those.
like Bayer aspirin.
Yeah,
You're
or
supposed to have
crap
aspirin.
like that.
Take some Advil when you have a heart attack.
No,
Yeah,
you
no,
are.
they-
It's supposed to help, because
Really?
it
Yeah,
like
'cause
it widens your blood.
I was
vessels.
joking, but there you go.
But yeah, I mean, like if you get up there in age, and we're fairly young, hip dudes, and we sit
Speak
a lot.
for yourself, Ian.
Dude, I'm hip as hell, man. But like if you
Oh
sit
my.
there, if you sit there for hours and hours and hours and you're streaming, 8 hours a day, it's like that's got some negative health effects.
Well,
right?
supposedly in those other 8 hours, you're doing healthy things like working out. But
you're
yeah, if you're
100%
not,
almost guaranteed. I mean, like if you're that old, if you're a 60-year-old dude streaming, right?
I mean, at that point, you're viewing it as a 40-hour-a-week job. You're working 8 hours. It's just like any other job, except it's not a physical job,
Yeah, and you
basically.
get to play video games.
And you can play video, but it's like that's like saying someone in a cubicle office couldn't stay fit. Basically, someone that goes to a cubicle every day.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But I mean, most people in a cubicle don't stay fit.
Yeah.
You've got
Wow.
six
Yeah.
days.
Yes.
Hey, put
yes.
it out there for all you fellow gamers. If you're playing like every hour, just get up, walk
Yeah.
around for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Unless you are in the zone
And drink water.
chasing champion in Rocket League, in
Yeah.
which case you gotta stay
The
in the
grind
zone.
never ends.
When
and,
that
for
blood
those
clot
5 minutes when you're
eventually
up
reaches your
walking,
brain.
It will be worth it if I can just see a purple rank
Right.
next to my name.
yeah, for those 5 minutes that you're up walking, somebody else is getting better. So your
Exactly.
physical
Stop
health,
walking around.
don't
or
wanna-
a temporary virtual icon next to your fake username.
Guys,
Visual icon,
It's
baby.
all about time invested
Tough
and
choice.
maximizing time invested. Any second you are all tapped. Anytime you're doing anything other than play the game, you are falling behind.
Speaking of which, we're all falling behind right now. I think it's time to go
I-
play some
Oh,
video
we
games.
gotta
I
some
think it's
video
time to go
games.
play some video games. I need to go get some sleep.
Oh,
I've
for sure.
been just nonstop going at schoolwork. So close to graduating and leaving this stage of my life behind. I'm ready.
I just gotta put it out there, man. Being done with school, definitely as awesome as you think it is.
Yeah, no, I was talking to my friend and he was telling me how he has nightmares that he's back in school.
I had those.
You had
do you ever
those?
have those dreams? I had these when I was in school. I'm sure I'll get those dreams like soon enough. But when I was in school, my favorite recurring dream is it's like the middle of the semester and I haven't gone to class all semester and there's a test today. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I gonna do on this test?
Yeah.
I haven't gone to chemistry and it's like November. Like, what are we gonna do?
That would be nightmare
It's
fuel.
terrible. It's like those dreams when like you wake up and you're still like, oh my god, are we okay? And you're like, oh, okay. Like, it's August. Like, there's no quizzes. I haven't missed any class.
All right, well, like Sirius said, I guess it's time to wrap this up. This has been the Casually Toxic Podcast, and we do these episodes bi-weekly, so we hope to see you in about 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Bye bye.
We're coming for you, $6.99.